Hello, everyone. If you're watching on Facebook, welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome and welcome. People on Facebook, you're just as good as the people on YouTube, so I didn't want to give two welcomes. You're all welcome. And today, right here, this meditation on building and tearing down, you will get to see not this up here, which may work out well for you. I don't know. I'm just going to start this, by the way. I have been playing Jenga lately with one of my children and with my girlfriend. And I thought to myself, what a lovely metaphor for this Sisyphusian. I don't know if that's a word, Sisyphusian. Sisyphus being the character from Greek mythology that has to roll the stone up the hill. He rolls the stone up the hill only to have it roll back down again. As I've gotten older, I have discovered that much of life has a Sisyphusian flavor to it. And Jenga is a game that you could have just called, Sisyphus. Sisyphus builds a tower or deconstructs a tower. I don't know, really. So I've been spending way too much time trying to figure out how I can use my hands on camera so that they can be kind of entertaining. If anyone has a comment, observation, feel free to put it in the chat. I will respond. I should also say that this is my third cup of coffee. I'm timing this exactly for my third cup of coffee during the day. This is the third cup that keeps me awake and somewhat productive. When you usually see me, everyone, for the morning show, I'm on my second cup of coffee. But this is the third cup here. This is life support. So I got to use one hand. This is the thing, right? The rules are that you can only use one hand. And actually, I read at a reliable source that if you play Jenga with your non-dominant hand, then it's actually better for you neurologically. It forces your brain to work in a different way to help prevent dementia, to help you stay neurologically resilient. And what a great game to talk about mindfulness too, right? I mean, I'm not being very mindful. The first maybe I'll so those you have not very yeah, you can block from underneath the most full block level here. So this is a full block level. So I take these logs or columns, whatever I call it, anywhere underneath the top full level. All right, I'm back, and I seem to be able to reconnect here. So I feel pretty good about that. You know, anyone who's been watching me do whatever I do here on YouTube, maybe entertain, infotain, I don't know, knows that I constantly struggle with technology. My strong point is not as an engineer. Now then, Dave says now you can see, hear me. They're very good. Very nice, very nice. I'm going to turn down the wattage here on the light. So like I was saying, third cup of coffee. Hiya again. Here we are. Trying to stay focused. And Phil Hill watching. Hello, Phil Hill on Facebook. This is kind of like a meditation, a reflection. This is my me playing Sisyphus right now. Well, there's drama here, Wild Eden. You know, there is drama in Jenga. That's what I discovered. And you know what I'm finding out now? It's actually a lot easier to play with other people as against to doing this alone, playing a solitaire game. I haven't played a solitaire game of Jenga. This is my first time. Playing with other people, far easier. And once again, for everyone who's just tuning in, using my non-dominant hand for this to help me not go crazy. A lot of what I do, actually, is based on the concept of me not getting any crazier than I am. And believe me, that is a job. Because I've always been kind of quirky, right? As a high schooler, junior high schooler, elementary school kid, I've always been quirky and never walked with the other ducks. And so one of my concerns, of course, is that as I get older, I lose whatever grip on reality I have. Growing up as an evangelical, we played Jack Straws. I don't think I know what Jack Straws is. I don't know what Jack Straws is. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Oh, by the way, I just want to let you all know, I am also wearing pants. Like real pants, right? This is you can tell how serious I am about this game and being with you this lovely Monday afternoon, because I am wearing pants. And there are times I'm just wearing like pajama pants, shorts sometimes. But I took this seriously and I said, Andy Hall, you got to wear pants for this. It's the British equivalent using straws. That sounds fascinating. Has a snow hit? Yes. It is currently coming down at a pleasant rate. It's like one of those white, Bing Crosby, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas kind of snow falls right now. It's not aggressive. The flakes aren't huge. There's a bit of a wind. But here in the Boston, around the greater Boston, well, where I am, we should only get a few inches, to tell you the truth. See, now I'm using my right hand, and I don't want to do that. What I've also discovered about Jenga is that there is movement. Hello, Thomas Reisman over on Facebook. If you're just tuning in on Facebook and haven't seen any of the YouTube channel, I do a variety of things. Morning show, which is basically going over the news and sharing laughs from 9 to 10 a.m. in the morning, Monday through Friday. I do a late night show on Sundays at 10:30 p.m. with my buddy Jack Materko. We had Steve Hill on last night talking about systemic racism. See, now I've kind of screwed myself. You can't see this too well, but I've been able to take out this block halfway. See, and here was the problem. I had the block halfway. It seemed like it would go, but then it got stuck halfway through. That stinks. So now, see, I'm stacking with my left hand too. Haha, yeah, right? Now I need more coffee, indeed. Well, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee right here to tell you the truth. Never again. Well, this is what I've discovered is one of the problems. Cup of tea for you. Very nice, very nice. What I discovered, and maybe there's a metaphor for life here, is that you start taking one of these blocks out and it goes halfway, and all of a sudden you realize the rest of it won't come out. Oh, happy me day. Hey, hey. That's right. History Month, indeed. And I should have mentioned something about that. Yes, about this morning show. We did talk about systemic racism, institutional racism last night. So does that count? I don't know if that counts, but happy History Month, indeed. If anyone of you want to, David Silverman talked with Steve Hill, the comedian, on the Right to Reason podcast, and it was a discussion about systemic institutional racism. So that's why, Steve's been on the show before a number of times. But we thought we'd bring him on and talk about systemic racism in general and about his discussion with Mr. Silverman. All right. Yeah, so I feel like what I have to be careful about is once I've got one of these small logs halfway out and it won't come out all the way, I need to figure out what to do. I have to figure out a strategy. I'm sure that there are YouTube videos about Jenga-ing, if that's a verb, a gerund, right? That's what they call it when you turn a noun into a verb. About Jenga-ing. But right now I'm just in a trial and error period. More error than trial, I think. All right, this time I'm going to use my right hand. I feel like I didn't do as well as I normally do. So I'm going to use my right hand on this, and this time it's real. This time it's personal. I also need to turn the heat back on. Heat's important. This is the first winter we've spent in this house. And you never know how, even if it's new construction, doesn't matter, all the new construction, you don't know how the place is going to do in the winter until you spend a winter there. And this place isn't bad in terms of being warm and toasty, or at least not being miserable. Tons of ice. How's it going? We're watching Andy play Sisyphus, which is Jenga. But I think it's the official game of Sisyphus. If Sisyphus was going to have a game, I used my non-dominant hand last time. I feel like that was some kind of narcissistic insult to me, and so now I'm going to play with my right hand to show you all that I'm not some kind of schlub. You know who I could watch play this? And even though I don't agree with all of his views, of course, I think it would be fascinating to watch Sam Harris play Jenga. because Sam Harris is supposed to be some kind of like Jedi master of mindfulness and meditation. I bet him playing this would be pretty cool. I think there'd be a lot less fart jokes, though. I think I'd have more fart jokes in my game of Jenga. Paul Sharp, hello on Facebook. How you doing? You just missed the tower breaking a little while ago. This is tower number 2. Duh. Tower, duh. I'm going to take another cup of coffee. Sip. I always had steady hands as a kid. I used to do card houses. I used to do, build up houses of cards when I was a child. One, because there was no such thing as the internet back then, at least not for non-military people. There was no internet. So what did I do when I was a child? Good question. I made up a lot of card houses. I did card houses, and I looked through my set of encyclopedias. Little did my Baptist parents know that set of encyclopedias would help undermine my belief in the little baby Jesus. What year were you born, Andy? 1968. I was watching CNN yesterday. I was watching Fareed Zakaria, which is one of my go-to sources for information and commentary. Sunday mornings on CNN from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern. And during that show, they had a commercial for Consumer Cellular. The old people's telephone. And they're like, were you born in 1966? Were you born in 1967? And my girlfriend, who's younger than I am, but not abnormally younger, I just want to say that. She goes, wow, you're 1 year away from being in the Consumer Cellular demographic, Andy. It's like, yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. Blue, maroon, green, and white covered encyclopedias. They were maroon. The World Book Encyclopedias. World Book Encyclopedias. That's what they were. And I believe that they were maroon. But yeah, you learn all kinds of things when you're a kid, just looking through encyclopedias about comparative mythology, the history of Christianity, the Roman Empire, all kinds of stuff. And I'll say this, my dad, who was brilliant but crazy because of PTSD from fighting in the war. He was in the Korean War, which was actually quite a bloody conflict, and a lot of people don't realize that. So he came back from Korea. I think he was a little unhinged to begin with, but he came back from Korea with PTSD. But brilliant man. He got National Geographics delivered to us. And this is when National Geographic was a real magazine. National Geographic, who is it? Murdoch owns National Geographic now. Goldie Mickens. We had the Blue World Book Encyclopedias. I read all of them. Yeah. Encyclopedia Britannica, never again, huh? Oh man, I'm envious. Even though I'm very happy with the World Book Encyclopedia, the Encyclopedia Britannica I always felt was the gold standard. So yeah, a lot of my childhood was spent looking through encyclopedias and looking through my dad's National Geographics, spending time in libraries, watching monster movies. Oh, Consumer Reports. I have to tell you, I am. My dad was a Depression era baby. Yeah, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Extremely frugal. Right, 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 right. When I was 18, 19 years old. No, it was more like I was 20. I was dating a man. I was dating a guy a couple of years older than I was, and his mom was lived through the Depression. And what she would do is that she would take the soap, right, little slivers of soap, and then she would collect these slivers of soap, the ends of the soap, basically, the ends of the bars of soap, and she would press them together to make a big bar of soap. And that's something you learn from the Depression. Consumer Reports is an important magazine to have. The pitchman did not come to my door. No, I believe my father must have sought them out on his own. So I feel like this tower is doing better than the other tower. I feel like using my right hand is definitely easier than my left. John Wood, hello, hello. John Funk is in the chat on Facebook. How you doing, John? This is me playing Sisyphus, basically. I'm doing my Sisyphus game here, otherwise known as Jenga. It's a meditation. That's what I'm calling it. Oh, look at this. We're talking about my I was out of Britannica now. There must be 1968. Tons of mice. Yeah. What I always liked was looking through the old maps, right? Being the big geek that I am, seeing all the countries that don't exist anymore, or the colonial possessions, and getting a sense of what the world was like before I was born. So my dad had a series of maps, of world maps, where you would see things like the Belgian Congo or French Indochina. And that just fed into my interest of history. Be wanting to learn more about history. Because it's like you see all these maps and all these countries that are no longer there. You say, well, what's the story behind that, right? Ooh, I just found just wrote a script for a video, John Funk says. All right, very good. What might a map look like in 50 years, John Funk asks. That's a good question. In 50 years. So John Funk asked that question, what a map might look like in 50 years. Scotland, an independent Scotland. I think that's not a hard thing to guess. Independent Scotland that's in the EU. I think that's just a matter of time. I think the Scots had an incentive to stay in the Union during the age of imperialism. And now that the age of imperialism is over, they may just want to go out and strike it out on their own. Scots for Scotland and all that. There's a lot of talk about China and Russia being kind of allies at this point, but I wouldn't buy that for the long term. They share a 3,000-mile border, 2,000-mile border, and there's actually some parts of Siberia right now that have more ethnic Chinese than Russians in it. John Funk says, my elementary teacher told us Cuba would be an American state by the year 2000. Yeah. People like to make predictions. That's what I've discovered. People like to make predictions, and you know what? All of us like aren't good at doing at seeing the future. Yeah, being able to, and the people who do say that they have a good track record, a lot of that's cherry picking, kind of like the Nostradamus thing, right? I mean, yeah, I called the blah 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 thing before it happened, but typically these people have made other predictions that are really wrong, and you just don't hear about them. Goldie Mickens, my dad had brought some back from Vietnam. Balkanized America. Well, that's an interesting question, Tons of Mice. My tower is leaning. Yes, my tower is leaning. There's no doubt about that. Balkanized America. I'll say this, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, is that the United States cannot be at the same time Banana Republic and Norway, i.e. a civilized country. It is either going to be one thing in its entirety or another thing in its entirety. And that's what the drama is that you're seeing every 4 years, every 8 years or so, is that the country makes these wild swings. Those swings are not going to last forever. It will either, and I might be, summoning forth my inner Abraham Lincoln, is that it will either be one thing or the other thing, but it can't be both. It cannot be both. It's like the Russians during the 19th century and early 20th century. They were trying to get all the benefits of capitalism while still being a despotic state. And that blew up in their face. America cannot try to be a modern, civilized, a modern country while still nurturing a love affair for Christian fascists. I predict Andy will be picking up Jenga pieces off the end. Well, all right. It is leaning dangerously. See, now I have to stand up. See, this is why I'm wearing pants, is that there would be points I would have to stand up and actually do this. All right. Oh, no. It almost tipped just then. That's not up to code, Goldie Mickens. It is not up to code at all. John Funk. If I wrote 1,000 predictions, at least a couple would materialize. You're right. What would be really unusual if none of my predictions came true? That's right, John Funk. And I've said this before, back in way before the election, I predicted, and I put money on. That's the thing, all right? Everyone can run their mouths about what they think is going to happen, but do you feel so confident that you're going to put money on it? I felt confident that Trump was going to win a re-election back in 2009, before the pandemic started. I thought this is going to be, I'm obviously anti-Trump. I dislike Trumpism. I hate Trumpism. It's just Christian fascism. Oh, man, this is tough. It's really tough up here, too. You can barely move anything without it. But yeah, I put a little bit of money on Trump getting reelected, and I lost. Robert X says, if God was real, he would prevent the tower from falling. Indeed. Or maybe is it all of his plan? Maybe this is God's plan for it to fall like the Tower of Babel. Oh, here it is. I got something. No, I don't. Nope. Now it's halfway out again. All right, now it's out. I should really give myself a time limit, too, to get a piece out. Oh, this stinks. Oh, here we go. Oh, no. Now, if you know Jenga rules, there's a 10-second rule in between terms, right? So you take out a block, you put a block up, and then you can wait for 10 seconds. And then the next person goes. Now, I haven't put my block up yet, but I'm calling city planning. You should. None of this is up to code. I have found also, just from my limited exposure of Jenga, is that the trick isn't as much as putting the block on the top. That's much easier than actually taking the blocks out. Taking the blocks out, that's the real difficult part. Statisticians are good at predictions. Right. Well, this is from John Funk in the Facebook chat. Statisticians are good at predictions. Yeah, they are. They can tell you where the trend is, but a good statistician will still couch their predictions. Like maybe, perhaps, there's these black swan events, right? That occur. Like the pandemic. That is a black swan event. 9/11, a black swan event. I think there are definitely ways that you can help manage. I'm glad my apartment's on the ground floor. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, it's close. This is close. This is close. Not in a very positive way here. See, once I start trying to take anything from the top level here, it's very wobbly, very wobbly. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. All right, well, I feel like it's better than the first one I did, to tell you the truth. There's something absurdist, maybe existential about this, but I don't know. I'm just a guy with fart jokes. That's all I am. There she blows, indeed. John Funk was talking and was saying in the Facebook chat about statisticians being good at making predictions. I think that if you're going to have a circle of friends, typically, it's good to have someone who's like, amongst in a group, like a lawyer, or like you have a hide the body friend, just in case, something happens, you need someone that can back you up. But I think and also someone who's like a medical professional, right? So someone that you can trust, that can give you medical, advice. I have a buddy who's has a master's in nursing. And believe me, I have called him before and said, hey, I'm just sending you a picture of this thing that looks wrong. And that's been very good. Good to have a friend who's in the medical profession. A plumber. But I think having a statistician in your crew, having a statistician amongst your close friends is important too. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to try my left hand. Once again, my left hand is there to work on my neural plasticity. Is that a word? I think that's a word. I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, look at that slice of magic. All right, I want to get this in frame so you can see the base at the very least. Here we go. No, you don't want to see that. That's all, nothing but. All right. I found it handy to have programming experience in statistics because it helps. I could see that. I could see that never again. All right. The tower is straight. I'm going to take a cup of my drink for my coffee. This is the third cup here. So I have been skeptical about Godzilla versus King Kong, the new movie that's coming out. Because as anyone who's a fan of Godzilla will tell you, Godzilla is like 10 times bigger. Well, significantly bigger than King Kong, if you look at the old movies. However, I have found out, and this is a spoiler, So for anyone who's like into King Kong versus Godzilla, just put your hands over your ears as I do the spoiler. Is that Mecha Godzilla is making an appearance in this movie coming up, King Kong versus Godzilla, and I am a hardcore Mecha Godzilla fan. He's got the missiles coming out of his fingers. He's got the death beam from his chest. So even though I'm not a fan of making King Kong so tall in relation to Godzilla, the idea of Mecha Godzilla being in the movie, I find pretty awesome. Hey, the girlfriend's here. Hello, hello. Well, the girlfriend, I was saying I should do my left hand, and here we go. I'm going to use my left hand this time. It's going to do this more challenging. All right. My battery's dying on my cell phone, so I'm going to have to replug here from my iPad to the cell phone. Here we go. What I found, and if anyone ever's played any game with me whatsoever, whether it's checkers, Connect Four, um, Monopoly, I run my mouth so much. I talk a lot of smack, and which is good for the solitaire game is that I get to quiet my mind a bit and focus. The bricks are reminding me of buttery shortbread biscuits. Oh, I love some buttery shortbread. My girlfriend and I, before the apocalypse, we found at this place in the Boston area that did the most remarkable buttery shortcake treats. I've got to use my left hand, my left hand. See, now I feel like this is coming easier. I think, did I stack the blocks better this time? I don't know. Maybe it's just some placebo effect in my brain making me think this is easier. Oh, well, you know what? I could just take this guy out right here. Just like that. Yeah, I got to get myself some shortbread. Shortbread is tasty. All right. I will say this, being a vegetarian has been a lot easier than it ever has been. I mean, I was a vegetarian once for like a month, but now my girlfriend and I were now been vegetarian since August. Maybe it's a function of the fact that we don't go out because of the pandemic. Maybe that's what makes it easier, right? But yeah, been a vegetarian now, and it's been remarkably easy. Of course, one of our neighbors was barbecuing yesterday, and it made my mouth salivate, wanting to have some. Oh, it's snowing outside. Like it's coming down a bit stronger, a bit harder, but nothing too serious. Man, this is when it starts getting tough. Oh, wait. All right. See? Oh, that's a slice of magic right there. Slice of fried magic. Grilled neighbor is tasty. I hear it tastes like pork. Here it is. Oh, wait. Oh, look at this. You know, you start playing around with one of the blocks, and then another block is loose, and you discover that, and that's pretty cool. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see if we can get the camera to get a better view of the whole situation. Here we go. You know, what they really should have done in the Star Wars series, Empire Strikes Back, when Yoda is training Luke, there should have been a Jenga Jedi mindfulness exercise. And he thinks the rules are that you have to put the brick all the way back, but you don't take it out. Oh, all right. Yep. All right. So this is a good point from the girlfriend. Andy thinks the rules are if you have to pull the brick all the way in and you don't take it out, but we can't find a specific rule about that. Yeah. I say if you touch it, you must pull it out. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, no. I can't touch that up there. Let's see if there's any. Just like that. Little thing you may not know about me, I did some LARPing back in the day. Fantasy role-playing, live action role-playing. This is when I was in my early 20s, when I had more time and money to do frivolous activities. Unlike this right here, unlike this particular activity. So yeah, there was this organization called the New England Role-Playing Organization, NERO, that's right. And so that consisted of me dressing up. I was a fighter. I had a two-handed sword made out of PVC tubing and foam. And go out and play adventures out in the woods, basically. It was very cathartic. You could hit people with your barber sword. And it was pretty cool. Go on adventures. See, I'm supposed to use my left hand, but I'm not. All right. Look at this, huh? It seems too easy. I have also developed, I'll tell you one of my Jenga hacks right now. This is probably anyone who's played Jenga before knows that if you keep your hand pressed up against your chest, against your body, you use your hand like a crane, so you don't have to actually reach out because it's more shaky. Your hand's more shaky like this. But if you have your arm prone against your body, then you can actually move it around and it's more stable that way. You know what I have to do after this is contact Junk Shop Library. We were talking about them coming on the best advice ever this week. I have to contact them. Bopping of the Sith. Oh no! Oh, disaster. I was doing so well too. I was doing so well. Disaster. All right. I think I'm going to call it quits for today. I think it was a very successful Sisyphusian task I did. Thank you for everyone tuning in tomorrow, 9 a.m., doing news roundup and talking and sharing some laughs, having some fun. And I guess I'll see you all later. No, yeah, I know. Right, Wild Eden? It was so close to being a perfect tower, too. But, what are you going to do? Eventually, and I don't want to bring the party down, but eventually it all falls down anyway, right? Hey, keeping it positive. All right, everyone. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., I'll be here. I'm going to go look at news articles and think about things and find funny things to share. Take care. Goodbye.